So these are the 5 I'm going to be featuring today because they're a little bit more indicative of wider archetypes. So like, I think Windgrace and Esper midrange together gives a really good idea of what mono black and black decks in general are trying to do. Mono blue tempo is good to know how to play and how to beat. Domain control is a blast, and Boros Reanimator is just very counter to most of the styles people are playing. So I'm going to hop right in, and it's going to be a fun day. Hey, Herix! Good to see you. All right, so I made sure to hit gold yesterday. Yesterday was my first time playing standard in this format, like for real. And we're going to get started with this Boros Reanimator list. So before I play, I'm going to talk a little bit about each deck, and we can get a little kind of into how it runs. So I'm just going to make Friday my prep stream, and I'm going to sneak some in at night, but that'll be for the Eternal Open. All right, so Mono White Reanimator, and it's technically Red White Reanimator. You'll see that a lot of decks, so there's a few trends in recent standard that you're going to see a lot of. The first is lots more lands. Almost all decks run extra lands, and that's because lands are better. So cards like Iganjo and Silkenzin and Jetmir's Garden all cycle. So like you have the luxury of running a few extra lands, and you also have cards like Rafine's Informant with Connive and Restoration of Iganjo, which lets you turn your lands into different cards. So all standard decks right now run some way of turning their lands into extra cards, except pretty much mono red. So like mono red is a little bit less popular because it doesn't have that ability, but Fable the Mirror Breaker is a big part of that, because that second chapter lets you turn your extra lands into better cards. This deck is running red just for Fable of the Mirror Breaker, because Invoke Justice is so strong. So this is a deck that you saw a lot as mono white before the banning of Meathook Massacre, because Invoke Justice is a way to take your creatures out of the size of the Meathook Massacre, because Meathook Massacre is -X/-X, and put a giant threat onto the board so that Invoke Despair and Liliana aren't so devastating. So this is a deck that just plays like a mid-range strong deck. So like I've got my removal suite in Fateful Absence and Destroy Evil, and to a lesser extent Cathar Commando. Cathar Commando is most important for killing other enchantment creatures and artifacts. Recursion, so just general recursion in the form of Sarah Paragon, Restoration of Iganjo, Invoke Justice. And the goal is to get Invoke Justice off on a Sanctuary Warden to just generate more threats they can run. So no Elder Dragon War because it's double red. Double red, like, this is the only red card in the deck. And the mountain, honestly, is weird. So, like, I picked up a list with a mountain. I wouldn't run the mountain. I would just run the 4th Windscarred Crag, because you want everything to make white mana. You can't run a lot of red cards when you have Invoke Justice. And Invoke Justice is the powerhouse of the deck. We've got a few little one-offs, but, like, your removal is going to be Wandering Emperor, Fateful Absence, and Destroy Evil. And this deck doesn't have to kill everything. I don't have to kill everything they play. I just have to outsize and outpace their threats. Because even if they are playing, like, their own Owls, there's some mono-white versions that don't run Invoke Justice, then getting 3 counters onto an Owl means that my Owl attacks through their Owl. And we both say Owl. Well, only they do. Bankbuster is a card. It's just a nice little way to card you can recur with Sarah Paragon or Restoration of Iganjo. But it's all about getting enough recursion targets. My build of this deck was mono white, 25 lands, and I used, dude, what was it called? The land that you sacrifice to draw a card, and if you have an artifact or if you have an enchantment. And then in the sideboard, we just have extra. So Reckoner Bankbuster is a slow way to draw 3 cards and have a threat, but it is good against the other mid-range and control decks. Wedding Announcements, similar. Unlicensed Hearths and Lion Sash together do a good job of tackling graveyards. And Banishing Slash is just reasonable removal. It's going to come in when these artifacts come in, because enchantments are easy for us to get. We've got 4 Restoration, 4 Fables. So generally, if I am bringing in Reckoner Bakebusters and Unlicensed Hearths, I'm also bringing in Banishing Slashes. Vanquish the Horde is a concession to other things like the Saga Storm that we were talking about a little earlier. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to play 3 matches. That's the goal. If I can't do all 5 of these decks today, then I will do... I will do at least 3 today. I'd like to do all 5. If I can't make all 5 work today, then I will be doing night streams to cover the last 2. All right, so best of 3, standard ranked. We're going to go ahead and get started. So note, so Outer Dragon War is a great addition, and you could definitely do a heavier red version of this deck. But you might not be able to run invokes, or you might need to make some extra concessions for colors. So 25 lands, lower curve, no ows for Outer Dragon War. Like Outer Dragon War actually does seem pretty nice. But it's worse Fable of the Mirror Breaker in most situations, because they both put down a threat that must be answered, but Fable of the Mirror Breaker does it for 1 less mana. So this is a keep. It's a little bit slow. And it's good format right now. That's what I'm trying to prove to you. There we go. So now you should hear the music. And you can hear my voice. Now we just need to get the MTG audio. Hope that's not echoing. Oh, that's just silly. I don't need green, so I will play this on turn 2 if I need to, just to have both colors. But like I have my red source and all my white sources, I don't really need to play this right now. All right, so looks like we are up against Banned Humans. It could be Esper. No, it's banned. So Banned Humans is a pretty popular deck right now. So I drew my 2-drop. I want to get my 2-drop down. And we're going to just go ahead and pitch the Warden to get it off on turn 5. So that means that I want my turn 4 3-play to be Fable the Mirror Breaker, turn 4 Cathar's Commando. White Blue Humans, or Banned Humans is a deck it's in my 10 decks that I wanted to do. I check once a day. So I saw the 3 spoiler, I've seen 3 cards from the Brothers War, not counting Urza and Mishra. Ooh. So I'm pretty surprised they didn't attack here, but I think they really just want to get the card draw off. So I'm going to put down my Fable and look to turn 4 Invoke Justice by attacking for the treasure. So no attacks. And they're going to attack their Dennick here into my... well, I'm hoping they'll attack my Dennick because I got to deal with Dennick before I can cast Invoke Justice. So this is a humans aggro deck, and sometimes they run Joda, but usually just as a one-of. It's tough to make it run right. No attacks is very unexpected. Have to answer Dennick to invoke. I'm just going to pitch 2 lands. Alright, so I drew my answer. Dennick turns off my Invoke Justice, so I'm going to have to kill it on their end step. But the thing about... well, the humans deck, they're all legendary, so I know they won't play a second one. So as long as I just end step Fateful Absence, I'll be fine. So we are going to just plains. I want to play the Restoration, but really I need to get down to Cathar's Commando and a Restoration. So I'm going to pass. So I thought there's so many decks I wanted to play. I picked top tier decks. So this weekend is Worlds, by the way, which you may not know because Wizards didn't fucking tell anybody. But yeah, Wizards this weekend is a World Championship for MTG. They did not think it was important to let people know this. Yes, this weekend, starting Friday. I might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. All right, block and block. Yeah. This is fine. So they put down the Emperor. And see where they put the counter. And if they put it on here... So now I get to respawn with a Fateful Absence, which is great news because I was going to do that anyway. And I take 1 less damage from Adeline as well, as a result. So this turn went well for me. I can put down the Commando and just tack down that Emperor. Because this is going to be a very good turn for me. So, end step Cathar's Commando. Do the plains. So Plains means I get to invoke Justice. So invoke Justice returns Sanctuary Ward into play. And I target myself because that's where I want to put the counters out. Let's get... What are the important numbers here? We need 4 power. So 4 power, 4 power. Am I attacking with you this turn? I do want that treasure. 4 power, 4 power. 4 power. We're just going to take the shield counter off. It's a little risky, but I don't think it's that bad. So Sanctuary Warden with the Invoke just generates card advantage. And I'm just going to throw everyone. Ooh, okay. So I do want to just throw everyone at the Wandering Emperor. But if I give them the opportunity to save the Wandering Emperor, they might take it. So instead of attacking everything at the Wandering Emperor, I'm going to put the Goblin Shaman here. So they can save the Wandering Emperor and kill all my creatures. Isn't that a great deal? So if I throw all 3 at the Wandering Emperor, I'm just dealing 12 to the Wandering Emperor. Why would they bother blocking? They get to untap and Shana. But this forces decision-making on their part. Neat. So if they let me untap with this Kiki Jigi, I get to start copying Sanctuary Warden, and then I win. Sanctuary Warden is just such a huge threat in this format. So you'll see reflections of Kiki Jigi in like so many decks, and mostly that's just because it's does some of everything. Like this card is so cool. It's very strong. No single aspect of this card is busted. But you get so much value out of the 3 chapters. Well, I get to untap with my command, or with my Kiki Jigi. So let's just make a Sanctuary Warden to start. And we might as well drain the shield counters. Restoration or Fable. The only so I'm playing one of these. It's just a matter of if I play it before or after combat, and there's not a lot of reason to playing it before combat. Only Rafine's Informant has a good attack. Cause, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because Cathar's Commando just gets blocked by Thalia. But as long as we're attacking through Adeline, we're okay. Make a treasure. Draw a card. I'm going to leave this shield counter and take the counter off Cathar's Commando, because he's not using it. She's not using it? Oh, she's cool as hell. She's not using it. It's from Into the Spider-Verse. I like decks. I like standard formats with boards like this, with these clogged, difficult combat decisions, even though we're in a limited format. You did it. You investigated. Let's just get down a Fable, because that way I can cast it next turn and play a Plains and pass. I could have taken the extra life point, but I'm not particularly worried about that right now. Because even if they have a removal spell, they gain 3 here. First strike, so that's 2 blockers. So 1, 2, yep, and then they take 7. Alright, so there's up a game. So they showed me, what did they show me that game? Humans? I need to be able to wipe the board. Vanquish the Horde is nice because we have creatures that are going to die. So I want the 4th Wandering Emperor. So they showed me Wandering Emperor of their own. Oh, is that this weekend? Oh no, I wanted to go to that. It's Banishing Slash worth it. I don't think Banishing Slash is worth it if I'm not bringing in my artifacts, especially because I just took out the Bankbuster. I think Vanquish the Horde is definitely worth it. I would like more spot removal, but I'm going to take out Destroy Evil for Vanquish the Horde and leave it at that. Danik does hurt my reanimation plan a little bit, but not enough that I want to come down these cards. Cathar Commando might be better as Wedding Announcement or another Emperor. Maybe in the Banishing Slash, but this is fine. I see. So these are 5. I think there's probably 10 decks that we're likely to see. There's these 5. There's Jund without Windgrace. I like the Windgrace version, but just Jund control is probably going to be more popular. Um, is that not all right? I thought that was this weekend, but I guess. But the Magic 30 wouldn't the Magic 30th anniversary be in August? And that's when they. I guess that's just the anniversary of Alpha. Ooh, very awkward hand, but we're still gonna keep it because Al is strong. And I get to pitch the Warden to draw a card. Pitching the Warden is generally a good idea. So pitching the Warden to a Fable means on turn 4 I get to put the Warden down on an Invoke Justice. Like, these 3 cards is such a powerful combo. And the danger here is that they untap and play a Thalia, but they could have done that last turn, and they didn't. I don't know. I would hope so. They usually stream it. Let me scooch. Makes it a little easier to see what cards are being played if I scooch just a little bit. Oh, come on, just one dice. Fable down. So Restoration also lets you get to 5 mana on turn 5 or on turn 4 because you do accelerate the land even though it's a tapped land. But it doesn't let you discard. You have to discard the land you want back with Restoration. So depending on what they do, I might just try and jam the Owl. Because they are representing Urtai. Yeah. I'm just going to pitch 1. Because I want this land, and I want this Restoration of Iganjo. Very rude. Should have pitched something I could get back with the Sarah Paragon. Well, it's a beautiful place. They marched. I was playing around Urtai because I run Urtai, but I guess not everybody runs Urtai. Yep, Catalda's good. We're going to pitch and return the Plains to play. Send down pass, and let's just go for an Invoke Justice. Neat. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We'll just take 1 +1/+1 counter off of the Reflections. I think it's because people try to do it right after the summer. Instead, like, I think they try to do it during the summer, and it just doesn't work out. I think we're going to start seeing a change in the future, though. I mean, feels like a very bad idea to let me do this. What do you have? You going to kill it in response? Or nope? I do like Jim Davis. Field down. Alright, well, I just drew 4 cards this turn, and I'm attacking for 11. So let's see how they deal with this. This is a bad matchup for this deck. For humans, I mean. Humans is a really... Reanimator is bad against, like, Esper midrange and Grixis midrange, which we will talk about more today. Let's see. I would much rather have down Al, but I've got lethal next turn anyway, so I'm going to just put down Restoration, and that way if they happen to be holding a board wipe, I have a threat coming in without me spending mana later. Crucially, thanks for the follow. How you doing? So I like decks, so as a player, I prefer decks that can abruptly swap game plans. So I like decks that like start out as aggro and become a combo deck, or start out as control and become a combo deck. Like this humans deck is actually a great example of that, because it basically plays like an aggro deck, and then suddenly you get down Catalda, Henna and Elena, and Joda. But like this one is pretty close. So this one, like it plays like a mid-range deck, but then suddenly your combo goes off. Like that was a combo hand, what I had there. Hmm. Oh heck yeah. Well, you're here at the right time because what we're doing today is a standard showcase. So I'm showing off 5 of the biggest decks. This is one of the 5, what I consider to be the 5 strongest decks. So Rafine's Informant lets you keep otherwise pretty weak hands. Because like right now, I've got 3 lands, 2 Rafine's Informant, and then 2 cards that are going to be new cards after Rafine's Informant. Hey Plastic, we're doing a standard showcase today, so ask questions if you got them. This is Red White Reanimator, and this is, well, this could be many different things. Mono Blue and Esper Midrange. I see. So I'm going to pitch the first Sanctuary Warden, which does show my hand. Sometimes you're not going to want people to know you have a Sanctuary Warden in your graveyard. So if I have multiple Rafine's Informant, it would be the later one. So if they start on Island, they're probably mono blue because the Esper and Grixis deck don't run a lot of islands. They run lots of tri-lands. Let's get down the Rafine's Informant first. And they run a playset of Make Disappear, which is counter target spell unless I pay 2. So if you have really important cheap spells, you might want to wait a bit, try and run less important spells out first. Sure thing. Hang on 1 second, Usock. Sorry, I don't use Untap either. Just gonna pitch. Ooh, it's gonna be Rafine's Informant. Oh, thanks, Eric's. So I really didn't want to play that mountain there. I want 4 white sources in my 5 lands. So I don't want to play Shogun's in at all if I can help it. Yeah, so this is mono blue. And what you want against mono blue is early power on board. You got to get power on board before their counter spells. Like, and Rafine's Informant is just really good against them because they don't want to bounce Rafine's Informant. So the question here is, do I Wandering Emperor or do I just play the Invoke Justice? So if this were not mono blue, if this were Esper or Grixis or Jund, then I would just play the land and try and sneak in an end step Wandering Emperor. But what I need to do against mono blue is play 2 important spells in the same turn. 2 spells that really threaten their game plan at the same time. So I'm going to play my tap land now, and then on their end step, I'm going to play the Wandering Emperor, and then if they counter, I get to untap and Invoke Justice. Well, never mind, I'm just playing 2 Rafine's Informant this turn. Ah. But you know what? Usock, I will, after today, make an effort to, yeah, so I'm going to play a Plains and Pass. And then I'm going to try and kill the Insectile Aberration when it attacks. And I do have to be a little careful because they run Shore Up, and I don't want them to be able to Shore Up and Make Disappear in the same turn. Yeah, that's how Delver is. Delver of Secrets is the card that is always a 1/1 vanilla creature when you play it, and always an immediate 3/2 when your opponent plays it. But the third deck I'm playing today is a Delver deck. So if they let this resolve, I'm just going to make a 2/2. Cade, hey, how you doing? Cade put in a fantastic answer for my MTG riddle, which I will be talking more about shortly. I don't think that their shield's down, so I'm going to just try and run them out of counterspells. So Rafine's Informant first. Rafine's Informant again, and I'll Fateful Absence later. Bankbuster feels really good against them. But I'm going to stay on my Warden Invoke plan. I'm so glad. I put out an MTG riddle that so Cade, one person did calculate the correct number of doubling seasons, but they then didn't right up until the final one, but they literally used the number, and it was like 10,000-ish digits. They just had a supercomputer that functioned for it. But they didn't. They couldn't make it work right with the actual number of doubling seasons. So I'm gonna end step absence here, and then try and get my invoke off. Kuz Neep, heya! Nice to meet you. How are you today? Neep raid. All right, followed. Everybody check out Clueless Neep. I'm Scuffle. I play card games. Today, I usually play limited, but today we are doing a standard showcase and going over some of the top standard decks. So if you're interested, this is Red White Reanimator, and we are playing against a mono blue tempo deck. So I'm just going to take this 3 and then try and Fateful Absence as Hapless Djinn and hope they only have 1 counter spell. So end step, I get to kill the Djinn. I love the flavor text on Hottie Djinn. What a champion! Hey, Neep. Okay, so this isn't in play for 1 whole turn, which means I have a shot. So if one of these last cards is a Spell Pierce, I think I just lose. Otherwise, I'm in pretty good shape. So 3, 4, 5. All right, I could be playing. So let me think, because if I play my own Sanctuary Warden. No, you're good. I love that. Alright, so Invoke Justice gives me more cards, but Sanctuary Warden can't be Spell Pierced here. And I think I have to go with the card that can't be Spell Pierced here. I got it. They thought that I... Aw. Alright. I don't know if I'll count that one. But yeah, that match was rough for them because my threats are much heavier than their threats. Yeah. I mean, the matchup's rough, but still, he probably did have the Spell Pierce. And but I wouldn't have scooped there because all he had to do was top deck a bounce spell. Like if they drew Fading Hope off the top, I lose. They have lethal because that's 11 damage because they had a 7/4 Djinn and a 3/2 Delver. So 1 Fading Hope bounces my Sanctuary Warden, puts their Hottie Djinn up to 8 power, and then I die. Alright, so this is Boros Reanimator round 3. Ooh, and we got the Neon Dynasty play space. Love it. All right. We got to throw this back. You don't need a lot of lands, but this deck does mulligan very well because of how many cards you generate from Sanctuary Warden. So I'm okay mulliganing a bunch to show you how the mulligan games play. We will keep Destroy Evil because I don't care about a lot of the creatures, but I care about the biggest ones. And then it's just a matter of Fable or Invoke, and I'm going to throw back the Invoke, and I'm going to use Sarah Paragon and Fable the Mirrored Breaker to generate the card advantage I just lost from this mulligan. So I might even pitch Fable the Mirror Breaker to the Informant and then try and replay it off the Paragon, but that depends on whether or not I hit a red source. So this is either Jund or just black-red. Oh, I need the land. It's really good. I've been loving it as a one-of. It's in place of the 4th. It's in place of the 4th Wandering number. Because like it really is somewhere between Iganjo and Alright, so we'll get the Informant down this turn. And I don't know that they're going to give me a Destroy Evil target. I am just going to pitch this land because it doesn't change what the Informant trades with here. Then next turn I get to put down Fable or possibly Destroy Evil, but I'm looking to set up a combo turn in order to make up for the cards I lost to this mulligan. And they're trying to decide if they want to play a cut down on my Rafine's Informant to just bust for 6. So if they hit me for 6, that puts me to 13, and then the 6 again will put me to 7. But they don't run a lot of individual burns, so they're looking to just blitz a second underdog at some point to get the last little bit of damage. Yeah, that's kind of where it's awkward. Like, it's a solid 4-drop, but it is a 4-drop. The Destroy Evil I'm keeping in case of a Cruelty of Gix next turn. we're just going to put down a Fable. And then a tap land. So next turn, I can put down my Sarah Paragon and play a land from my graveyard and at least generate a little bit of card advantage. Fable's so good. Every part of this card is relevant. Like, this is fantastic design. It's 3 very relevant pieces, none of which are quite a whole card. You can, but you still have to pay the cost for it. So if I have 2 Sarah Paragons, I can cast 2 spells, but I can still only play 1 land. I'm still bound by the rules of, general magic. So generally 2 Paragons, you won't see a lot of 4 Paragon decks because of that. Because it just is so, your first copy of Paragon is game-breakingly powerful. It helps you stabilize against control decks. If you return a Fable the Mirror Breaker, it can die and then be brought back again. But the second one is a lot weaker. Aw, Eric's, that's sweet. Thank you for getting that set up. No, this is not my vibe right now. I do love this song and Denzel Curry. Here we go. No blocks, I'll take the 3. So this is not an aggressive deck, but they do put it on high pressure. So things like Invoke Despair. Yeah, like this is a 3-color deck that wants to cast Invoke Despair, and that does make life difficult sometimes. But I have this Sarah Paragon, so let's see if they have a removal spell. If they don't have the removal spell for Sarah Paragon, I can generate enough card advantage here to win. But if they Invoke Despair me again this turn, I'm probably gonna lose. Yeah. Once you start chaining, so like the black decks, this is what they have in common. Invoke Despair, they all play very differently, but they all just want to chain Invoke Despairs at a certain point. So I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm gonna Iganjo here. And if they have a 3rd Invoke Despair, I die, because I lose 6 life. Ah, well, if I can give you access somewhere, tell me. Alright, so what I need now is Sanctuary Warden. Specifically, Sanctuary Warden. Or they can just kill me flat out. They hit me for 6-14 with Invoke Despair that game. Invoke Despair is a very good card. Hearse and Sash are both excellent against this deck. Which means that Banishing Slash is good against this deck. And this is actually a pretty good matchup in general. And anytime Banishing Slash comes in, we're going to take out Destroy Evil because they are very similar cards. I want to bring in the Bank Busters. So Bank Buster comes in against mid-range decks. That's where you want it. Paragon probably comes out, and maybe Owl. Owl is pretty nice. I don't think they have any flat answers to Owl, but I need to make 5 cuts right now. So I'm going to take out 1 Wandering Emperor for curve. I'll leave the Paragon, gains a little bit of life. Spiriting Companion is great because you can sacrifice it to either half of the... maybe the Banishing Slash package isn't worth it. So it would be the Banishing Slash package or Wedding Announcements. I love that. I will, Herix. You might already be a moderator, though. Alright, I'm going to ignore their graveyard this game. And I don't want to give them extra cards if I can help it. So we're going to cut a lot of my removal for more threats, a better threat package. Alright. Keeping the Banishing Slash. No, they didn't show me any artifacts or enchantments. I'm just bringing in more threats. So Wedding Announcement is nice because it is a threat which provides 2 bodies for the Invoke Despair. Probably... Let's do this. So I went up to 4 Wandering Emperors and down to 2 Invoke Despair, or down to 2 Wedding Announcements at the end of that. And I cut Bank Buster altogether. I regret cutting the Bank Buster now. I just ran out of time. So Rafine's Informant into Warden is a good start. I'm also pretty happy to have 7 cards here, and I will hit a red source for my Fable. I'm not in a hurry, and I get an extra card off the Informant. I love that this basic version of this mechanic, like this is just the Connive card, is so strong. Ooh, nice. So now if my Rafine's Informant dies, then my turn 3 Restoration of Iganjo returns it on turn 4. And even if I don't have a red source, I do still get to put down a 3-drop. Also, having a 3-power 2-drop is just great. Oh, I need to give you moderator power on stream elements. Cool. I can do that. I'm just going to discard a planes to return a planes. Nice little piece of ramp there. Don't think they'll block because they want the treasure so that they can turn 5 invoke despair. So if they invoke, it's a good idea to think a little ahead on what you're going to sacrifice to invoke despair. So in this case, I'm probably sacrificing Fable and Informant. And then I get to untap and invoke Justice Sanctuary Warden. And if I get to invoke Justice Sanctuary Warden, I'm in great place. I'm in a great place. All right, dashboard, chatbot, user management. Chatbot, user management. All right, you're in there, Herrick's. Should be working. You an absolute dog and Daijobu. Maybe I have to make you a super moderator. I'm gonna make you a super moderator and see if that helps. Don't abuse your power, Herrick's. So this is the hesitant attack. And the fact that this is, like, if they had snapped this attack off, I might have been willing to take it. But they are hesitating quite a lot here. Yeah, I mean, if you tell me this is a bad idea, Plastic, then I might believe you. You can turn the lights on and off. Ooh, unleash the Inferno. That's hot. This is just trustworthy. Talk to him a bit. Alright, let's pick up my Sanctuary Warden. We have Reanimated Sanctuary Warden. And it might be a little disingenuous to call this a Reanimator deck. But that's how it feels. I do want both shield counters here. And I want to bash for 5 too. Looks like they're trying to wipe the board, so it's a good thing I kept the shield counter. I'm going to untap and either just cast another Sanctuary Warden or Wandering Emperor if I have to. Like, my problem is I respect a long con too much. So if Herrick's has been, for the past 3 months, just watching my streams and being nice and helpful for this moment, then I have to respect that con too much. That's why I'm every cybersecurity chief's nightmare. Oof. Alright, so we just learned to play around Unleash the Inferno. We just learned that it is a good idea to use the Invoke Justice counters to not leave 3 extra damage on a creature we care about for restoration. Yeah, I do get along well. Like, I'm very much somebody who corporately interacts with boomers often. I did not mean to attack with that. I'm just going to pull a 1/1 counter off. Because I still attack for 10 next turn. Sanctuary Warden number 2. Love Sanctuary Warden. It's so powerful. Nope, just Herrick's. Also, Herrick's can mess with my stream elements, but importantly, stream elements is not connected to my real name or my wallet. Alright, so 5 in the air, 2 on the ground. So if I can hit for 6, 7 with my Wandering Emperor this turn. Here, so this is a nice trick. If you put down a Reckoner Bankbuster and crew the Reckoner Bankbuster... Oh, I don't have enough power. Yeah. I think I need to keep the Wandering Emperor as a removal spell. I'm just going to attack for 5, and I'm not going to get a free card out of it. This does make me slightly sad. I'm keeping the Wandering Emperor because there's a few cards they could... Like, if they wipe the board this turn, you know, with a Soul Transfer, or an Unleash the Inferno, and a removal spell, then I can still make 2 power on their end step, pump it. So I would end step, play the Wandering Emperor, minus it to make a 2/2, plus it to put a counter on it, play a second one, plus it to put a counter on it, and attack for 4. So I'd still have lethal even if they knocked all this out. Yeah, Herrick suggested this song. Alright, so what did they show me? They showed me Unleash the Infernos. But no new threats. I mean, Unleash the Inferno does cleanly answer Wedding Announcement, but they have max 4. So I think I'm okay with what I have. I would like the 4th Bankbuster. I don't know what I'd take out for it, though. Yeah, I like this. I can't keep a 1-lander as much as I want to. But this is why this deck runs so many lands, so it's fine. I shuffle enough that I'm okay picking up Iganjo later. So we're going to put back Iganjo, and that way we have a turn 2 Spirited Companion, which will hopefully die, so that I can pick it up on turn 3 with the Restoration of Iganjo. So in the story, this is like post the Kami War. Then Iganjo comes back under Michiko Kanda, because regular Kanda was an asshat. Oh, thank you, Herrix. That's so awesome. I would be willing to do a showcase for Explorer. I think this is... I'm having a lot more fun doing this than I was expecting. It's just such a good format right now. As long as the format is interesting, I'm usually pretty happy with it to do something like this. Fable or Restoration? I think I'd rather just get the Restoration down. Maybe it's just Wedding Announcement. I think I need a threat that blocks Graveyard Trespasser. So we're going to go Restoration this turn and start ramping. Because what I'm going to do next turn, if they attack, I just block. And if they don't attack, I don't block. And I get to pitch a Plains and pick it up again. But it looks like they reversed course and added a little bit more pressure. I don't know where the creatures were last time. But we are now pretty well equipped to deal with Invoke Despair just on card advantage. Oof! That hurt. That hurt a lot. I might have to just throw 2 cards away to deal with this Graveyard Trespasser. The question is, do I do it this turn? If I let it attack, they'll exile my Restoration. But I don't know that I care if they exile my Restoration. It's still just ward discard a card. Next turn, if I put this down now, I get to Serra Paragon and land next turn. Yeah, I like that. Just wait a bit on the Trespasser. Dude is so cool. Love this song. This was like her big hit that got her onto the radio. Now she's the voice of the One Piece. Very excited for her. I love that all of the female pop stars from like the past, 5 or 6 years have had these huge voices. This is a do. A-D-O. Like that. We have not seen her face yet, but she is topping charts in Japan, which is pretty cool. But I think she's got some pretty international appeal. Again with the Unleash the Infernos. Will you stop? Creature or planeswalker. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna deal with this now then.
I hope you're ready to...
Yeah. I'll exile. Alright, garden down. I'd really like to put down the Paragon and the Spirited Companion in the same turn, but they exiled it. Yeah, she's the voice of the main character of One Piece Red. Her, and then Fake Type did a lot of the music with her. But, like, her other song, shoot, I just added it to this playlist. I'm going to add it to the queue. The video, like, was so cool to me. Lame. So the underdog blitzes down the Wandering Emperor. There's going to be a grind. We both got pretty stable here. This wedding announcement will help. But they're down 2 Unleash the Infernos, which that's their 2-for-1 threat answering card. I'd really like to invoke just as this Wandering Emperor, but I think I want to wait until next turn for that. Wedding announcement. And land this turn. The wedding announcement, if you play a lot of Eternal, you might recognize Dinosaur Nest. Although slightly more festive than the Dinosaur Nest. But this is nice. It's 3 bodies that become 6 power. And if you have enough bodies, you can turn those bodies into cards instead. But the nice thing about wedding announcement is if you tend to need bodies, in game states where you tend to need bodies, it gives you those bodies. And if you already have the bodies and you don't need them, then it gives you cards. And that's really cool design. It's also, like, look how happy they are just for this wedding invitation. This is the song that the main character in One Piece Red sings. And they did it with Fake Type, I'm pretty sure. Okay, laughing and hydrating at the same time did cause a little bit of choking. But everybody, check out Sandy. How you doing, Sandy? We're doing a standard showcase today. If you want to see the new, some of the new standard decks, this is Red White Reanimator. I've been good. I've been trying to, like, do more content that is, I don't know, specific to my play style, and I think that this is good. They're Bankbuster. Their Bankbuster does the same thing that my Bankbuster does, which is generate lots of cards. If I Paragon this turn, I play a land. So I just want to start invoking Justice. Pick up a Wandering Emperor, because Wandering Emperor is a good card.
Anyone who harms my people must contend.
Alright, and let's attack. So this is going to be pretty cool. Because I can still, as long as she came into play this turn, I can activate her at instant speed. But really, I'm just going to get a Samurai down to defend a bit. So now I have 2 bodies with which to defend this from my Wandering Emperor from this Reckoner Bankbuster. And they probably are going to just spend an actual removal spell on that, but that's fine. And once I get that 7th land, then Sarah Paragon, it picks up my Restoration of Iganjo. Oh, I'd love to play with you a bit, Sandy. I'll be on a little, like, I don't know how long this is going to take. Because this is kind of a grindy standard format. Like, this is what happens when 2 mid-range decks crash into each other. And their deck is more efficient at being mid-range with Unleash the Inferno and Tenacious Underdog blitzing itself back. Yeah. Creature, enchantment, Planeswalker. Devastating. Ooh, great draw, though. All right, let's get in for 5. I don't want to... Like, this gets blocked by the Bankbuster, and if I take the counter off it, then it trades with the Bankbuster. Oh, that was with my Giant Clones deck. I loved that one. That one only worked for a very short period of time, and there were 0 standard tournaments I could play it in. So normally they'd be able to grind. So this is why you have, in this format, you need to keep pressure on board. Because cards like Tenacious Underdog, this is unlimited value as long as you can pay the life for it. Like, it just keeps coming back. Which is why cards like Sanctuary Ward that give me some value and generate bodies are so strong. And there's my 7th land, which means I can Paragon. The next time I'm going to Paragon and put down either Restoration of Iganjo or Wedding Announcement for even more value. Probably the Wedding Announcement. Ooh, a Sheoldred. Yeah, never mind. I don't know if I want to draw the cards off the Wedding Announcement. If I Invoke Justice, go up to 9 power. So Invoke Justice, in addition to being a reanimation spell, is 4 additional damage. So they're at 12, and they get to gain 2 life off their Reckoner Bankbuster, and they go to 14 life. So if they have 14 life on this attack, then I have 5... So they have 1 blocker, because they're just drawing a card. So they're at 14, block my biggest creature, take 9, 10, 11, 12... 13, because I can pick up my Emperor. Damn, not quite enough. So instead, we're just going to draw some cards, Paragon down. 5/5 is a good attacker. Oh. So then they're trying to get my, Yeah, I'll take the life loss. Ooh, I could play another Sanctuary Warden, but I don't want to draw that card right now. So I'm going to play a Sarah Paragon. What else returns? Just a land. Alright, we're going to put out the Wedding Announcement then. So, an interesting thing... The thing about Sheoldred is, like, yes, this is a very good card for limited, but it's fragile. Like, this is a defeatable creature. It dies to destroy evil, not cut down or tribute to Urborg, but it dies to destroy evil, extinguish the light, you can geyser it to bounce it. Like, this is good design. It's fine to play creature cards that win the game in limited. It's not fine to have creature cards that win the game but you gain 2 life off of this, which is important because I'm about to draw a lot of cards. So they're at an effective... Like, yes, every part of... This is a great card, but it's not broken, and that's good design. Alright, so 2 mana up. If I just grow this, swing out, they get 1 blocker, 1, 2, 3, and they're taking 8 right now, which means they have some way... Well, they don't have a way to deal with this. We're gonna go... They probably scoop to this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, just in case they have 1 removal spell.
Guided like water.
Ooh, I forgot I can remove from the Wandering Emperor. Should have played a Plains. I wasn't going to draw the card at all. Alright, so you go to 9. And then you have 1 blocker, and you're taking 2, 4, 6, 12. Good game. That was a tier 1 deck. Jund is tier 1. This is the tier 1 deck. It's technically like 1.5, but it's so good against the tier 1 decks. So like the tier 1 decks right now are Esper midrange, Jund midrange, and Grixis midrange. They're all black base tricolor decks for options. And then this is the anti of those.